Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth, also known as the Continuum Chronicles. As always, I'm your host, Chris Kent, the Game Master, or GM for short. And today we're going to be talking about the Transformers role playing game that I'm running. But before we get into that, smash that like button, ring the bell so you know when I upload stuff, and make sure you're subscribed. We got a great community starting to happen here, and that's all thanks to you guys. So thank you so much for being here. All that said, let's dive into the adventure. The prologue to this one takes place 4 million years ago on the planet Cybertron. The Decepticons are driven by a single goal: total domination. They set out to destroy the peace-loving Autobots. The war between the forces of good and evil rages across Cybertron, devastating all in its path, draining the planet's once rich sources of energy. The Autobots, on the verge of extinction, battle valiantly to survive. A scout named Bumblebee and a scientist named Wheeljack emerge from an underground chamber carrying several long, glowing orange cylinders. Wheeljack says there's not enough energy in these conductors to last a Cortex. Bumblebee says, at least we found these, Wheeljack. Wheeljack asks, and when these run out? Bumblebee says, can't worry about that now. Let's go back to Iacon. So the two heroic robots transform, and Wheeljack says, load up. So Bumblebee places the energy conductors in Wheeljack's cargo area, and then the two of them head back to Iacon. They go home, and Wheeljack radios Iacon, letting them know that he and Bumblebee are coming in. So Ironhide shuts down the security system briefly to let Wheeljack and Bumblebee back into the command center. Unbeknownst to those inside, Soundwave is outside, disguised as a Cybertronian gadget on the side of the road. Soundwave says, Laserbeak, prepare for flight. Panel on Soundwave's chest opens and Laserbeak flies out. Laserbeak at this point looks a little bit like an ovular drone with a jet-like nose cone that sticks out of the front. Where his eyes should be, he has a small cockpit made of orangish colored glass. Laserbeak flies up to the transparent dome and begins recording everything transpiring within. Soundwave detects an Autobot approaching, so he transforms back into his alternate mode again. Having no idea this thing is Soundwave in disguise, the Autobot's second in command just hovers by, completely unaware. Once Jazz enters the facility, Soundwave transforms out of his alt mode and back into his robot mode again. Soundwave uses his communicator to tell Laserbeak to continue observing the Autobots. Inside the command center, Jazz takes an elevator up to where Optimus Prime, their commander, is meeting with Prowl and Trailbreaker, two of their strategists. Optimus asks Jazz if he had any luck, but Jazz says the north side of Cybertron is blacker than the inside of a drive shaft. Optimus says that unless a new supply of energy is found, no one is going to win this war. Prowl asks when they'll start the search mission. Optimus says as soon as everyone's ready for launch. Laserbeak returns to Soundwave, and Soundwave returns to Megatron, reporting that the Autobots are set to launch. Megatron says the Decepticons are too. Then he puts Shockwave in charge while he's gone. Shockwave promises that Cybertron will remain as Megatron is leaving it. Megatron orders the Decepticons to prepare to blast off. Back at Iacon, the dome retracts, revealing the Autobots' starship, a huge copper-colored vessel known as the Ark. Jazz says all systems are go, so Prime gives the order to depart. All 5 of the massive ship's huge rear thrusters ignite, and the behemoth rockets into space. Meanwhile, the Decepticons' massive starship is called the Nemesis. It's made out of an exotic purple-colored metal indigenous to Cybertron. Soundwave reports that they are ready to depart as well, So Megatron yells, "Blast off," in his rough, gravelly voice. The Decepticons follow the Autobots, and on the bridge of the Autobot ship, Prowl turns around in his seat and says, "Viewtrex report. We are being followed." Optimus knows right away it has to be the Decepticons, so he takes the helm and begins evasive maneuvers. Megatron orders Soundwave not to lose them. Starscream says, "Let's just blow them away. They've seen us." But Megatron bellows, "No," it is untrustworthy second in command. Megatron instead orders the Nemesis be brought up alongside the Ark, and they use tractor beams to form a magnetic junction. The Decepticons then board the ship, intent on exterminating everyone there. Optimus and Megatron grapple each other, and Megatron wraps his hands around Prime's throat, trying to choke him. Ironhide, Jazz, Prowl, Ratchet, and Sideswipe attack Soundwave. Jazz is fastest, so he goes first with an initiative of 16. He hits Soundwave, whose dexterity is only average, making him an easy target. Jazz rolls a 13, so he takes Soundwave's body from 12 down to a 10. Prowl also has an initiative of 16, so he goes next. He hits Soundwave, doing 5 points of damage. Sideswipe has an initiative of 14, so he's next in order. He hits Soundwave for another 5 points of damage, so Soundwave now has a body of 0 and is knocked out. As a brief GM's note, by the way, when a Transformer is knocked out, we call that stasis lock. And simply put, it means they can't revive on their own. They will have to stay in a coma-like state until someone or something else comes along and repairs them. That said, Starscream attacks Prowl, punching him in the back. But Starscream has a strength of 14 and Prowl has a body of 18. So without a better roll on the dice, Prowl takes no damage from this attack. Ironhide tries to hit Starscream, but doesn't roll high enough to hit him. Prowl goes, hitting Starscream and doing 5 points of damage, taking Starscream's body of 14 down to a 9. Starscream cries out in pain, saying, "You dare strike me?" Jazz says, "We've heard your song before, man, and we're tired of that tune." And with that, Jazz hits Starscream for another 3 points of damage, taking Starscream down to a body of 6. Sideswipe then hits Starscream, doing another 3 points of damage, taking Starscream down to a body of 3. The other Autobots try to pile on Starscream but miss due to his high dexterity. On Starscream's turn, he begs them for mercy and asks them not to put him in stasis lock. Megatron hears this and bellows at Starscream, calling him a coward. Optimus takes this opportunity to punch Megatron in the face, doing 4 points of damage. Starscream shoots Trailbreaker with his energy blast of 8. I'm sorry. Skywarp shoots Trailbreaker with his energy blast of 18, but Trailbreaker has a body of 20. So without a higher roll, no damage is done. Trailbreaker then rolls a 13, doing 5 points of damage to Skywarp, taking his body from 14 down to 9. Skywarp hits back, again doing no damage. Trailbreaker hits again, doing another 3. Skywarp now has a body of 6. Skywarp hits back, rolling a 13 and doing 4 points of damage to Trailbreaker. Trailbreaker hits back, rolling a 15, which is enough to put Skywarp in stasis lock. Ratchet's initiative is 12, so he attacks Thundercracker and misses. Thundercracker, in turn, shoots Ratchet with 14 AP energy blasts, doing 7 points of damage. Then he does the exact same thing again, putting Ratchet in stasis lock. The Ark begins to shake. Prowl calls out, saying G-forces are dragging them down. Optimus says, "We're out of control," and he grabs the stick. The Ark tumbles into Earth's atmosphere with the Nemesis still latched onto its side. That extra mass means the usual efforts to pull up fail. As the two ships spiral out of control towards prehistoric Earth, the magnetic junction is broken. Once those tractor beams have disengaged, the ships separate. The Ark comes in hot over the section of land that will one day be known as the East Coast of North America. It speeds west, losing altitude all the while. Dinosaurs look up at the huge ball of fire in their sky, and they have no idea what's about to happen. The Ark skids through the prehistoric jungle. It's a bit like skipping a stone over the surface of a pond, but on a massive scale. The Ark bounces a few times as it rides the crests of various hills and mountains. Finally, it crashes nose first into a volcano in what would one day be known as Oregon. As the ship comes to its sudden stop, the Transformers within all fly forwards and are seemingly smashed to bits. Despite the ship's sturdy construction, the entire front nose of the craft is destroyed. The individual robots hit the volcanic stone and are knocked out. Red hot lava slowly leaks into the front end of the ship. More of this prehistoric magma oozes out over the whole of the volcano, and the entire ship is covered in the stuff. Autobots and Decepticons alike lay here helplessly, waiting for someone to come and find them and repair them. The lava cools, though, and the ship is hidden under a mountain of rock. Optimus Prime would never admit to this, but many of the Autobots see him less like a general or a president and more like their king. If he was their King Arthur, then his Excalibur would be the matrix of leadership that he carries in his chest. Like Excalibur, it is seen as a gift from their god. In the case of the Transformers, the name they give to their god is Primus. That is part of where the name Prime comes from. Suffice it to say, when the matrix of leadership goes missing, the Autobots on Cybertron see this in the same way humans might see it if the Holy Grail went missing. And if Prime is their king, then Elita 1 is their queen. She's the leader on Cybertron now, with her adopted father, Alpha Trion, serving in an almost Merlin-like capacity. When time goes by and Prime never returns, she worries the love of her life is dead, or at the very least, may be in need of her help. But Alpha Trion tells Elita that Cybertron can't survive without her. He urges her to send someone she can trust to lead a search and rescue expedition. So Elita 1 turns to a dear old friend that she and Optimus have known for a very long time, Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus recruits Autobots such as Beachcomber, Blaster, Cosmos, Grapple, Hoist, Inferno, Perceptor, Powerglide, Red Alert, Sea Spray, Skid, Smokescreen, Trax, and Warpath. They go to Omega Supreme asking for a ride to Earth. Omega Supreme only cares about revenge against the Constructicons, though. Ultra Magnus tells them the Constructicons were on Megatron's ship, which followed Optimus. So if they find Prime in the Matrix, Omega might find the Constructicons as well. So that said, Omega Supreme transforms into his spacecraft mode, and the search team departs for Earth. And that was it for that game session. We had a good time playing it. We hope you had a good time listening to it. If so, and you'd like to support our channel, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new games, and leave us a comment. It really helps the channel out. So that said, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.